Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Are you overweight? Maybe you're dealing with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and you're having some challenges with losing weight. Is that you? Maybe you've been diagnosed with prediabetes or even straight up full-blown type 2 diabetes. Are you ready to go ahead and shed those pounds and lose weight finally and put forth some practical steps and solutions to help you to reverse type 2 diabetes and those other chronic conditions that you're dealing with? Well, listen, this is the episode for you. I know firsthand through personal experience that it can be done. I lost over 80 pounds, folks. It wasn't easy, but I was able to do it through consistency and a commitment to changing my life. And I'm so happy to tell you that I am off all medications, including diabetes medications, even issues that I was having with my heart and medications I had to take for that, and high blood pressure meds, high cholesterol meds. It was a bunch of stuff that I was dealing with, and I was able to get off all medications once my doctor cleared me. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to share with you in this week's episode how I prepared for weight loss success and how I was able to change my life. I want to give you some practical steps how you can do it, because listen, if I could do it, you can too. I'm also going to share with you the ways to make your journey towards good health less complicated, because I don't believe it needs to be so complicated, folks. I'm also going to share with you later on a list of foods that I think you should incorporate and those that you should probably consider minimizing or completely avoiding. I'm also going to give you some recommended resources to help you further your knowledge of health and nutrition. So listen, folks, stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. You don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo. My goal is to help diabetics and non-diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. In today's episode, we're going to delve deep into the remarkable benefits of weight loss and how it can contribute to reversing type 2 diabetes and even preventing it. Because, hey, if you don't have it, great. But you also want to live a lifestyle to never have to deal with type 2 diabetes. If you're on the journey to improve your health and you're looking for ways to support maybe someone that you love, this episode is for you. And be sure to share this episode with that loved one. So let's jump right in. You know, I have a follower that sent me a message some time ago, and I wanted to share their story with you, or at least their comment with you, because a lot of people deal with this same situation. She goes by Scorpion Girl, and she wrote, I weigh 140 pounds. I was feeling horrible. The test showed that I am a diabetic. Please, I need help. What are the steps to beating this disease? Well, thank you, lady, for submitting your message and your comment. I really appreciate it. And you know what, folks, this is a common situation that many people face. Listen, I was in that same situation. For me, I totally can relate. I was 268 pounds, and roughly around August 2020, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And 2 years before that, I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes. And it was a scary situation being in the hospital. Yes, I was hospitalized. And that's when I found out that I had type 2 diabetes, and I was a straight up diabetic. But you know what? During that time, yes, it was scary. I was still committed to beating this thing. Now, I didn't know a lot about diabetes. My only frame of reference was, I had a friend who died of a diabetic seizure, and I had a friend who had a leg amputated, and I knew basically my whole frame of reference was you can either die from it or lose limbs. So I did not want to lose my life, and I did not want to lose any limbs. So what about you? Maybe you've been recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, or maybe you're just in a position where you're like, hey, I want to prevent this thing. So you want to get ahead of the game, and that's good for you. So first, let's discuss why weight loss is such a critical factor in managing type 2 diabetes and even reversing it and sending it into remission. Now, let me back up. Folks, when I was first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I never heard of reversing type 2 diabetes. I just thought it was just something that you just have to live with. As a matter of fact, my doctor told me I was going to be on diabetes meds for the rest of my life and just might as well get used to it. And so you see, a lot of doctors are giving that advice. And I'm not speaking against the medical profession, but there are some doctors who are not aware of the fact that you can send diabetes, type 2 diabetes specifically, into remission. So to be on the safe side, they recommend medications and medical treatment. And I'm not against that. I believe the medical treatment helped me to at least get things under control initially. But I knew for me, the more and more I started learning about reversing the condition and eventually the possibility of getting off meds, I was gung-ho for that. So little by little, I started increasing my knowledge, and I'm glad that I didn't just take the mentality that I was going to be on meds for the rest of my life. Okay, now let's move on. You see, excess weight, especially around your waistline, can lead to insulin resistance. And that's a condition where the body cells become less responsive to the insulin that your body naturally produces. So this resistance disrupts the regulation of your blood sugar levels, and then it contributes to the development and even progression of type 2 diabetes. But here's the good news. Weight loss has the potential of reversing the effects of insulin resistance. You see, by shedding extra pounds, you can enhance your body's insulin sensitivity and restore your body's ability to utilize glucose more effectively. You see, in fact, research has shown that even a modest amount of weight loss, let's say 5 to 10%, can lead to substantial improvements in blood sugar control. So let's take a closer look at the benefits you can expect from weight loss when it comes to managing and even reversing type 2 diabetes. Now, first and foremost, folks, weight loss can significantly improve your glycemic control. What do I mean by that? Basically, how your body responds when you eat certain carbs, whether it's bread, rice, pasta, vegetables, fruit, and even, those sweet treats. So as you shed pounds, your blood sugar levels tend to normalize, reducing the need for diabetes medication and potentially leading to complete remission. There's a study that I read about recently in the UK, and they talked about how, I forgot how long the study was, but they really delved deep into the possibility of sending type 2 diabetes into remission. And the focus was on weight loss. So folks, this is not something that is just new. It's studies that have been conducted for years now. And I want to do my part to get the word out, to help people to realize that, yes, type 2 diabetes in many cases can be reversed. So this newfound control over your blood sugar can not only improve your quality of life, folks, but also can help you reduce the risk of diabetes-related complications. Weight loss also offers additional benefits. By adopting healthier eating habits, I talk about nutrition often, and engaging in regular physical activity, exercise and so forth, you'll likely notice improvements in blood pressure, your cholesterol levels, helping you to reduce your risk of heart disease, which is a common complication related to diabetes. Moreover, shedding those excess pounds can enhance your overall energy levels and your quality of life. Many people with type 2 diabetes report increased vitality and strength, reduced fatigue, and improvement in their moods after losing weight. Now, you know what? I can tell you that's been my case. Even I found that my sleep has improved, joint pain diminished, and overall just feeling like my well-being has skyrocketed. And I believe you can experience that too. So now the benefits of losing weight don't stop there. By shedding extra pounds, folks, you can lower your risk of developing other chronic conditions, such as certain types of cancers, sleep apneas, fatty liver disease, and so much more. It's so critical to understand that one positive change can have such a profound impact on your overall health and longevity. Okay, so now that you have a bit more of an understanding of the numerous benefits of losing weight for managing type 2 diabetes, you might be wondering about what are some practical strategies to help you achieve this goal. The foundation for any successful weight loss lies in adopting a balanced and nutritious diet. I love nutrition. I've had several nutritionists and dietitians on the podcast. And if you've heard any of those episodes, you know and have heard of the importance of nutrition when it comes to, living a healthy lifestyle. You see, when you start focusing on incorporating whole foods such as veggies, fruits, lean proteins, and whole grains into your meals, you're going to see results. And once you start thinking and minimizing your consumption of processed foods and sugary beverages, you're going to start seeing dramatic results. I know for me, there were certain things that I just decided that I'm going to just eliminate or reduce. And because of that, I started feeling so much better. And of course, like I tell anybody and would suggest, you do want to consult a registered dietitian to personalize your, let's say, eating plan, your diet plan before you make dramatic results, because everybody's situation is different. My situation may be different from yours. You have some people who are dealing with type 2 diabetes longer than others. So the bottom line is you definitely want to get some personalized guidance tailored to your specific needs and goals. Now, I had promised before that I was going to give you some foods that I think you should avoid and some things that you should incorporate. Now, I'm not going to give you a whole list of foods because, everybody's tastes are different. But here are some things that you definitely want to consider avoiding or at least reducing from your diet. Because you see, just as important as figuring out which foods you should eat and should incorporate in your diet or your eating lifestyle, it is important to understand the foods that you should consider limiting. Now, I know that, when people hear the word diet, they automatically think like, oh man, I'm going to have to stop eating foods that I like and I have to just eat salads all the time. And that's going to get boring. All I have to do is just drink water, and that's it. Well, folks, that doesn't have to be the case. I believe nutrition should, and the things that you put in our bodies should be fun. It should be things that you enjoy. You don't have to eat quote unquote rabbit food to lose weight, folks. You don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to go on these long fasts and just deprive yourself of food that you like. It's just making better choices and healthier choices. And that's something that I want us to consider. Because there's so many foods and drinks that are out there that are high in carbs and high in sugar, foods and drinks that cause your blood sugar to spike. It's important to get a clear understanding of what those foods are, because you definitely want to become a more conscious eater. You want to be more conscious of the things that you're putting in your body. You see, some people focus just on exercise and they do very little focus or pay very little attention on the things that they're putting in our bodies. There has to be a good balance. I would definitely say focus on your nutrition and the things that you're putting in your body. Because, there may be things that you're eating that's negatively impacting your heart health and contributing to weight gain and making it so hard for you to lose weight. That's why you have to increase your knowledge of food, not just carbs and calories, but just other things, the impact of sugar and the impact of artificial sweeteners on your diet is so much more, even alcohol, fried foods, and so forth. So here are a few foods and things that you should consider limiting or completely avoiding if you have type 2 diabetes, or you're at risk of developing type 2 diabetes and you're concerned. So number one, I would look at and consider limiting refined grains like, white bread, pasta, rice, and so forth, because a lot of these foods are low in fiber, and the body needs fiber to help the body function and do what it needs to do to help food pass along and so forth. Fiber helps to control your blood sugar and so forth. So look at refined foods and those things that you should consider eliminating. Again, rice, pasta, breads, and even some potato-based things like chips and other things like that. So again, refined grains. Number two, sugar sweetened beverages. I'm real big on that because liquid calories, they can cause you to gain a lot of excess weight without realizing it. I used to drink sweet tea and soda every day, sometimes sweet tea mixed with lemonades and so forth. So not only are sugar sweetened beverages like soda, sweet tea, and energy drinks and some of these sports drinks lacking important lacking important nutrients, they also contain a concentrated amount of sugar in each serving, which can lead to high blood sugar levels and spike your blood sugar levels, which, over time can lead to insulin resistance. So there's an episode where I talk specifically about sugar sweetened beverages and how to eliminate those from your diet. So you can look at that. I want to say it's an episode called Are Zero Sugary Drinks or Zero Sugar Drinks and Zero Calorie Drinks Contributing to Weight Loss? Weight gain. So take a look at that. So number three, fried foods. Folks, when it comes to fried foods, even potato chips, French fries, mozzarella sticks, fried chicken, fried fish, you just name it. These can be linked and have been linked to a higher risk of heart disease. And you know what? Your body really does not need fried foods. When you're talking about protecting your heart and protecting your heart health, you want to consider reducing fried foods. I don't do the fried chicken anymore. There was a time where I even stopped the French fries, and started doing more air fried fries, if you will, like sweet potato fries in an air fryer. Because I realized a lot of these foods are cooked in these oils and just are doused in these oils that are just not healthy for you. They're not contributing to or giving you any health benefits. So for me, I decided to just reduce them and in some cases just completely eliminate it out of my diet, my eating lifestyle, if you will. Number four, alcohol. I'm not a drinker. I've never been an alcohol drinker. But I know there are some people who do like alcohol, but that's something that you want to consider because people with diabetes are generally advised to limit their alcohol intake. That's because alcohol can increase the risk of low blood sugar. Think about that. And which is hypoglycemia, especially if consumed on an empty stomach. So just consider that. There's lots of research on the impact that alcohol has on diabetes. So you definitely want to avoid alcohol or at least minimize it. Unfortunately, I can't give you an advice on what alcohol to specifically drink, which ones are better than the other. But, if that's a concern of yours, I recommend that you go and do some research on that. Okay, number five, breakfast cereal. Now, this is important because many varieties of breakfast cereals are very high in sugar, especially added sugar. Some brands pack as much sugar as possible into a single serving, all because of the taste. And, it's like having dessert for breakfast every morning. And on top of that, adding certain milks and flavored milks that are high in sugar. So I recommend that when you're shopping for cereal, be sure to check the nutrition label carefully and select a variety that is low in sugar. You can also opt for oatmeal and sweeten it with whole fruits instead of, the dry fruits that some of these oatmeal packets, like the instant oatmeal packets, come with. So just consider that, if you will. Candy, number 6. Candy contains a high amount of sugar in each serving. I mean, it's almost like a no-brainer. Come on. If you have diabetes or you pre-diabetes or even at risk of it, none of us need to argue whether or not candy is something that we should eliminate from our diet. I mean, you have people who eat jelly beans all the time. I was big on gummy bears, folks. I mean, I can sit and eat, well, before I could eat an entire bag of candy like nothing and not even think about it. So when it comes to controlling your blood sugar, you want to reduce and eliminate your intake of candy because you know what? I know it tastes good, but let's be honest, candy will spike your blood sugar, folks. And that sugar spike that you're going to get has a back end of it. And that is going to cause a crash, if you will. So don't load up on candy, save it for the weekend. And even then, don't overindulge in candy. I recommend that you go a time without eating candy, period. And even the sugar-free ones, you still don't want to load up and, take a handful of candy all the time. And it's just not good, folks. I don't need to beat that dead horse. Number 7, processed meats such as bacon, hot dogs, salami, cold cuts, sausages. There's all kind of stuff that's out there that's just these overly processed meats. And they're just so full of sodium, folks, and these preservatives that are harmful to the body and have been known to be harmful to the body in large quantities, right? So I'm not saying if you go to, a cookout and you have a hot dog or let's say in the morning you make some eggs with bacon that one meal is gonna like really mess you over. I'm not saying that. It's just they're chronically eating processed foods all the time. The sliced turkeys and the sliced hams every day for lunch and even for breakfast and stuff like that. You just don't need the processed meats in your diet, folks. Is not contributing to your health one bit. I don't care if it does say turkey, turkey versus bacon and stuff like that. You definitely want to reduce the amount of processed meats that you're incorporating in your body, because it's been said that certain processed meats consumed in high quantities has been associated with a higher risk of heart disease. So just something to consider. Number 8, fruit juice. And this kind of goes back to number 2 when I mentioned about sugar sweetened beverages, but I wanted to highlight fruit juices. Now, although 100% fruit juice can be enjoyed from time to time in moderation, as some people like to say, it's best to stick to whole fruit whenever possible if you have diabetes or you're at risk of developing type 2 diabetes. That's because fruit juice contains all the carbs and sugar found in fresh fruit, but it's lacking the fiber needed to help stabilize blood sugar. You may say, okay, well, Oscar, fruit juice is good. Shouldn't we incorporate more fruits in our diet, even if that means more fruit juice? Yes, but the store-bought fruit juices often contain large amounts of sugar and other artificial sweeteners for taste. That's different from, let's say, fresh squeezed orange juice that you make at home. It's different from, let's say, you make a smoothie with a banana and strawberries in it and blueberries. I stopped buying fruit juices. I stopped even going to the smoothie chain places to get smoothies because I realized they're using a lot of syrups and there's no nutritional benefits. In fact, there was one place that I used to go to every morning. Instead of eating breakfast, I would go to this one place and get a 32-ounce smoothie. And it was supposedly a meal replacement. That was the marketing behind it. So every day, I even had my punch card, I would get my points up to the point where I would end up getting free, smoothies almost every other day because I was going there so much. And then I started learning about sugar and the impact of sugar on the diet. And because there was a time where you remember I mentioned that I was 268 pounds, but I had reached a plateau like right around 220 pounds. It seemed like no matter how much exercise I was doing, I was not losing weight. And I realized after speaking with a gentleman who schooled me on sugar and paying attention to food labels when it comes to the food choices that I would make, it hit me like a ton of bricks that I was consuming too much sugar in the form of liquid juices, specifically fruit juices and smoothies. And I said, you know what, let me go 1 week without doing or buying a smoothie from this particular place and not eat anything that was sugary, no cakes, no cookies, none of that. And do you know, I started noticing that I started going below the 220. Remember, I was stuck at a plateau and the weight gain the weight loss just continued to go down. I started to lose the weight even more rapidly. And I was like, okay, so there was a connection with these fruit juices and this sugary laden smoothie. And here's something that I didn't mention to you about the 32-ounce smoothie that I would get. That smoothie was the equivalent of drinking 3 cans of Coca-Cola. Imagine that. 132-ounce smoothie that was supposed to be a meal replacement was the equivalent of drinking 3 cans of soda. That's wild. So, that's basically what I wanted to share with you guys. Those 8 things that you want to consider avoiding in your diet. Because listen, when you're talking about losing weight and reversing type 2 diabetes, there are going to be some changes that you need to make. I hadn't even really gotten into the physical exercise and how important it is to engage in, physical exercise every day, even if it's just 30 minutes. I hadn't even gone into that because I wanted to focus mainly on weight loss as it pertains to the nutrition and the things that we're putting in our bodies. And of course, I'll be doing future episodes where I talk more about, exercise and the importance of exercise, but I really wanted to focus in on the things that we're putting in our bodies. So I also want to share with you really quickly some things that I think you should incorporate in your diet, because it's very important to know not only what you should avoid, but what are some things that you should incorporate in your life. So as I wrap up today's episode, I want you to consider the fact that not only are there some foods that you should consider avoiding, but there are some foods and eating patterns, if you will, that you should consider adopting in your life. This is one thing to do elimination diets and restricting yourself from certain things, but it's what we put in our bodies, the good things that we put in our bodies that also can help make a difference. So you want to consider an eating pattern or diet that's rich in whole grains, beans, healthy fats, oily fish, and so forth. And of course, vegetables and so forth. So let me give you a list of things that I decided for my own self that I would incorporate in my life and has made a big difference. And again, things are going to be different for you, but hopefully you'll get the gist of what I'm talking about. I wanted to make sure, and well, let me back up. I learned the importance of including healthy carbohydrates in my diet. I learned the importance of incorporating fiber, protein, and fats. That's fiber, proteins, and fats, your macronutrients. And so by incorporating more of those things in my diet, I started to feel a lot better. Okay, so here are a list of foods that I started incorporating in my diet. Fatty fish, such as salmon. I eat salmon probably twice a week now, and I enjoy it. We want to incorporate healthy fat in our diets. And one way to get that is through fatty fish like salmon, and there's some others. Also, I incorporated leafy greens such as, your spinach, your mixed greens, and so forth. There's a bunch of them out there. Kale. What else did I incorporate? Swiss chard. And there's a whole bunch of things out there. I also cook often with sweet peppers, red, green, yellow sweet peppers. Avocados is a healthy fat that you can incorporate. My dad used to eat avocados all the time. And I just never knew why he ate avocados. But hey, Dad lived to be a healthy 88 years old. Shout out to Oscar Sr. Cucumbers. I love incorporating cucumbers in my salads as well as in my smoothies, my homemade smoothies. Eggs. I do boiled eggs for the protein. I scramble eggs as well. But eggs, I consider eggs are a good source of protein. Chia seeds, that's another good source of protein and fiber. I put chia seeds in my smoothies every morning. Beans such as black beans. I love black beans. Again, that's a source of fiber and protein. Greek yogurt. Definitely, I would say if you're going to incorporate that, try to stay away from the Greek yogurt that has the added sugars. Some of them may have fruit in it, like whole fruits in it, but that's a good source as well of protein. Nuts, like mixed nuts, those are good. Another source of healthy fats and protein. Broccoli, healthy source of iron and other nutrients that are good for the body. Now, as far as cooking oils, I don't do the vegetable oils and seed oils anymore. I stick to avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil. And sometimes I'll make even salad dressings with extra virgin olive oil. I saute my veggies now. I use olive oil or avocado oil, and I kind of stick to those two. Just healthy option. Flax seeds for the fiber. I put those in my smoothie as well. They have the ground flax seeds, which you can opt for as well. I also incorporate apple cider vinegar. Sometimes I'll do, let's say I'll get at least an 8-ounce cup of water, and I'll put some apple cider vinegar in it. Apple cider vinegar is said to help control blood sugar. So if you're going to have, let's say, something sweet or some carbs, drink some apple cider vinegar in some water. Some people may not like apple cider vinegar. They may be okay with just a straight up vinegar. That'll be good. That's considered a life hack, if you will, a food hack. So try that. Strawberries, definitely rich in bioflavonoids. They help to prevent and fight cancer. And they taste great. But if you're going to do that, make sure you do organic strawberries. If you get a moment, I want you to Google Dirty Dozen. And Dirty Dozens are a list of foods, 12 foods that are known to carry more pesticides than other fruits and vegetables. So there are Dirty Dozen, and strawberries fall under the Dirty Dozen. So if you want to have strawberries, fine, but go for the organic kind. Don't just get the regular ones. And Again, just Google Dirty Dozen, and there's a bunch of articles that talk about that. Garlic. Garlic is very good for the blood, helps to purify the blood. And it tastes great. So I cook with garlic, whether it's garlic powder or fresh garlic. It just tastes good. And what I've noticed is garlic, because it does have like a salty taste to it. There's sometimes where I cook without salt and I'll just use garlic. It just adds this flavor to it that I would say is a good substitute for salt. And last, but certainly not least, zucchini and squash. Consider cooking with zucchini and squash. There's all kinds of vitamins and nutrients that are packed in zucchini and squash. I mean, I just like the two combinations. I probably eat zucchini and squash like 4, maybe 5 times a week when I cook. It's just a staple of my my food when I eat dinner at home, when I make dinner at home. So that's it for today, folks. Hopefully you got something out of today's episode. I mean, there are all kinds of resources out there, folks, when it comes to weight loss and making lifestyle choices that's going to help you to reverse and even prevent type 2 diabetes. And one of those choices is our food choices, the things that we put in our bodies. So I definitely want you to just continue to tune into this podcast. There's so much information that I'm going to be sharing, future guests that I'm going to have on the show. And of course, anytime you're going to embark on a weight loss journey, I want you to take the time and make yourself a commitment. Commit to yourself that you're not going to give up, you're not going to cave in, and you're not going to quit. I want you to be patient with yourself. I want you to celebrate small victories. Seek the support of your loved ones and definitely from healthcare professionals, because you don't have to go at this alone, folks. You need to get guidance. You need to get support. Again, tune in to podcasts like this one that is really about giving you straightforward, practical information to help you to turn your life around so that you can live focused, be fit, and feel alive every day. So on the next episode, we're going to delve more into developing a new lifestyle of positive habits to help you live healthy so you can reverse type 2 diabetes and feel great. So as always, folks, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back because you can, my friend. And above all else, yes, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.